So today I'm gonna talk to you about 3 choices that I just made and how I made them and what they mean to me and what the next choices are that I'm gonna be making in my life so that I can improve my life, so that I can self-develop. Ever since I was a kid, I've had the issue that I knew that I'm not blossoming in the way that I want because some factors weren't letting me. And these factors were my mom when I was a kid and myself now that I'm an adult. So let me walk you through all of it. And before I do, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to self-develop, to become better at what you want. And of course, if you want to chat with girls and, create relationships and cold approach, learn cold approach, this is what we do. This is what we do here. So the first choice that I made was stopping weed. And I've tried to stop weed before for many times, and I've started again, or maybe I'll start again. In fact, I want to start again, but I'll tell you exactly what I mean by that. But what I mean is that now I don't want to smoke weed. I don't feel that it belongs in my life, at least not in the capacity that I used to smoke. I've had a pretty savage relationship with weed, and that's because I feel that not only did I feel like Hank Moody when I smoked it and just like a cool rock star type guy, but also I also felt that weed gave me superpowers. Now, I'll tell you exactly what these were, but there's a couple more choices that I've made recently, and there's a few choices that I will be making very soon. All these choices, by the way, are things that I've known that I needed to do and I hadn't done. I was postponing. I know it's like on my to-do list. I'm gonna do this week, and I never did it. So, what are the superpowers? The superpowers are, first of all, in retrospect, I understood that these superpowers are with me at any given moment, with or without weed. I don't need to be high to have them. And in order for me to tell you what they were, I need to go back to when I was 16 years old and I had an injury in my neck. I put a big chair on my head to kind of like transport it across the room without dragging it and like scoring the floor. And because of that, when I weighed back then, I would like maybe 100 pounds of that. So I put the chair on my head and I hear something snap here on the right side of my neck in the back, like kind of like in here. And it really hurt. They put a collar around my neck for 10 days. And when I took the collar off, the injury was still there. There were some movements that I couldn't perform. And that's when I was 16. And now, today, I am 39. It's about a week past my 39th birthday. Now, ever since I was 16, so like the last 22 years, I've had this injury. I've been unable to, basically do exactly this movement. I've had, when I did this, something really hurt me and prevented me from going all the way down, like so. Whereas on my left side, I could easily perform the movement. And did weed cure me? Yeah, it fucking did. Should you smoke weed to cure yourself? No, you shouldn't. Or maybe you should, but you should understand a couple of things. So what we did and what I noticed is that when I smoked and performed some task that I am mildly or marginally good at, it allowed me to focus very, very well. So that's like editing video, or having sex, or driving a car, or working out, or playing music. And by the way, don't confuse this with I'm so high, I'm unable to do shit. You think that because people don't know what it means to be high. People take drugs and they don't understand what that means and what that does. And we're not good yet at understanding what's happening with our brains, what the connection is to our ego, what ego actually means, what our spirit has to do with all that, and what this means for our focus, what this means for our awareness. And so basically, what does this all mean? Here's what it means. I got injured, and when your body gets injured, it deletes a movement pattern. The pain prevents you from doing exactly that. So from that point on, your body is going to substitute that pattern with the next best thing, which is like that, or like kind of like going like this, or like maybe like that, but definitely not that one, because that one hurts, right? So this specific pattern gets deleted from your nervous system. Your nervous system forgets that you can do that. And that means that some muscles get deactivated. And that's, by the way, the reason why people have to get fake hips at 60 or people get scoliosis. That's because some movement patterns are now forbidden because of trauma, which ironically is exactly how the psyche works as well. And we'll get into that in further episodes, maybe even in this episode, we'll see. Now, all good and well. From that moment on, I cannot perform this. I'm 16 years old, so my body grows around that injury, and my right side ends up losing, I don't know, like maybe 40 to 60% of its strength. I start bodybuilding at 22, and I start kind of like not being able to do certain things and to get past some plateaus and get some weird injuries. Why? Because my body is now misaligned, and it has been misaligned since I was 16. I just got a text that the girl that I was supposed to take out on the first day today cannot make it because she's not feeling well today. I predicted that was going to happen, by the way. I knew this text was coming, and I'll tell you how I knew that as well. Here it is, if you can see it. Yeah. Cool. So, now, where was I? I was rambling, but it was a good rant. So what happens? I get injured, my pattern is forbidden, my body forgets how to do that, the muscles related to these patterns get deactivated, other muscles that need to compensate get strained because of that, and my body grows around that injury, and my body grows crooked, my body grows misaligned. So at 22 and 25 and 30, when I'm trying to perform push, pull movements, all that stuff, I hit some plateaus that I cannot get past because my body just doesn't press like harmoniously. It doesn't press in a balanced way. It presses in an imbalanced way. Instead of pressing like this, now I have to press like this because this pattern has been forbidden for years. By the way, because this pattern has been forbidden for years, now it's in my unconscious. I'm no longer conscious of this pattern, and I'm completely unconscious. This is like being paralyzed or being partially paralyzed. No, it's not like that. It is the definition of that. So where does weed come in? Weed made this for me, okay? I smoked it, and it made me want to focus on things that I enjoy doing more. So like when I drive and I'm high, I am so much more focused. My reflexes are not better, but they're also not worse. I am very much in tune, and I'm like very just zoned in. And that's the fallacy. Turns out I can absolutely do this without weed as well. But for some reason, smoking weed gave me the permission to do it, if you will. And I guess that's kind of the connection here. So what happens, I start smoking weed, and sometimes I'm high and like I'm stretching my body, and like I see that like my tendons here, they kind of like, even though on the left side they're fine, on the right side if I do this, they kind of like, I feel, not even tendons, the nerves as well that run through the spine and behind and through the armpit and into the arm and all the way to the fingers. I feel the nerves stretch, even though my left side is not as normal. But this side, if I pull them this way, they stretch, and like I start actually going for it. I start stretching them out. I don't overdo it. I'm very, very careful because if I snap a nerve, I know it's game over. Yeah, but I'm very, very careful. And this is a process I've been doing for 4 years now. Very careful, like little by little. Every night that I'm high, every night that I'm stoned, I'm just doing a little bit more, a little bit more. So what happens after 4 years of trial and error of like trying to like focus and find the pattern? Mind you, this is a pattern that my body has now forgotten. Like it's like figuring out how to walk again. It's like a baby learning how to walk. Like it's something that I'm unconscious of now. Like I cannot fucking perform it anymore. So I'm trying to become conscious of it, and luckily I have my left side to compare it to. Because if I'm doing the same thing on the right side as I'm doing on my left, I know it's the right movement because my left side is uninjured. So that's kind of what I did for 4 or 5 years. And finally now I am injury free. Like I can perform that movement. I'm like 90% there, like maybe 80, 90% there. And it's July now. In February, I realized that I would get here. Until this February, I just had faith. I just had faith that it will work, that if I keep stretching, keep working out, keep trying to find the pattern that was lost somewhere in my unconscious, if I keep digging, that I will find it. And I had no evidence, I just had faith for like 4 or 5 years. In February, something happened and like I found it. And it wasn't perfect, that it needed a lot of concentration, but from that moment on, I knew that, okay, now it's just a matter of time to get it to actually work perfectly like the left side now. And it's been 5 months since February. It's July, like I said. And now I am 85, 90% of the way there. Like I can turn my head to the right for the first time in 20 years. I can, in the gym, I can press, pull, overhead press, the horizontal row, like symmetrically for the first time in 20 years. And it is a paradigm shift for me. It is a different way to live. It's a life that I had not had access to like, I don't know how to describe this. I'm sorry that I'm not articulate enough for this, but maybe this is too real for words. But I'm incredibly grateful that I can do that. I am now able-bodied, whereas before I was not. So yeah. And by the way, this is not, I magically smoked weed and I healed myself. This is more so, I happened to smoke weed and some psychological trick in my brain thought that like, because I'm high now, I have permission to focus, because I've always had an issue with focus, because when I was a kid, my mom made me focus and I didn't want to. So I have an allergic reaction to trying to focus. And weed is the thing that calms me down and gives me permission to do it. And so it's not the weed, it's me tricking myself that I now have permission to focus. And so I can absolutely fucking do it sober. Okay. And it's also like, that's the foot in the door. The actual walking through the door is the hours and days and months and years that I've put in of literally doing the hard work of you know, trying to find the road, trying to find the fucking where the pattern is that I had lost. Which, by the way, I am now aware of every single muscle fiber in here. Like I cannot move every single one individually, but bro, like I am as good as the closest I've ever been to literally that. It sounds crazy, but yeah, I have very, very, very tight control and grasp and command of the muscles in my back and literally in my whole body. Okay, good. So what happens with that? At the same time, I've been smoking weed for the last 15 years of my life easily, and also had times where I smoked it like a champion, like wake and bake and fucking, you know, like day in, day out, Alex is high. And alongside the permission to focus, I've also had some adverse side effects, which is the anger that had accumulated when I was a kid expressed itself a lot and hurt a lot of my relationships with my parents, with my friends, with my girlfriends, all of that stuff, with my business. So I'm not saying weed destroyed my life, but I'm saying that I don't know if I hadn't been smoking weed, if my life would have been so shit. Because it's not good right now. Okay. Mind you, like the shit that I'm teaching you about girls, yeah, I have lived multiple lifetimes of rock star type shit. So just because I'm saying my life sucks doesn't mean that you shouldn't follow my advice, especially when it comes to specific topics that I have a lot of wisdom in. It's just like my subjective perspective. So this is a campaign to make my life fucking epic, even according to my standards. Now, with all that said, the point that is about to be driven home now is that I have decided to not smoke weed anymore, because the relationship I've had with weed is not weed use, but weed abuse. And when you abuse a substance, I think you start fucking your life. So now I'm not abusing weed anymore. And in fact, I aspire to have a relationship with weed where I can enjoy it whenever I want, once in a blue moon, and it's cool like I enjoy fucking Molly or like cake. Actually, the cake bit is a lie, because I have a terrible relationship to sugar as well, which is part of the campaign. But that's kind of what I wanted to say about that. So weed is one of my 3 choices that I've made. The other 2 choices that I've made recently is obviously working out, which is a choice that I had made in the past, and it's been with me all this time, and I'm very appreciative of. And now the working out is about to actually pay dividends, because now I can finally work out in an aligned body, which is so important. Because if your body's misaligned and you're working out and you're putting 100 pounds and 150 pounds on it and trying to like do stuff with it, then you end up breaking your body even more. Okay, so if you're working out and you hear crunchy shoulders and like stuff like that, maybe your technique is imperfect. And unless you have perfect technique, maybe you should think twice about using a lot of kilos, a lot of weight. Okay, so the third thing is approaches. And now that I'm sober, I'm not high all the time, it's starting to get good. There was another time in my life that I did approaches as if my life depended on it, and it was when I was 22, and it was when I was starting to learn game. And honestly, I am starting from zero again. I have lived all this crazy shit with all these girls. Like, I've literally been with north of 300-400 girls at this point, for sure. And yet, I feel like I am starting from zero, and I'm so grateful for it as well. It sounds a little iffy, but in the way that I understand it, how do I explain this to you? The best way to explain it is that I've learned so much, and the more I've learned, the more I've realized how much there is yet to learn. So like, it's kind of like this Dunning-Kruger effect, where you start off thinking that like you know everything, but essentially you're an idiot. And like, the more you learn, the more you understand that you know jack shit, which is what an ancient Greek guy said. He said, was it Socrates that said, I know one thing, that I don't know anything. I know but one thing, that I know nothing. So yeah. So these 3 things are with me now. I don't smoke weed anymore. And by the way, it's not like, oh, I've been sober for a week. I'm not sober. I'm not trying to not smoke weed. I am not smoking weed. I do not want to smoke weed. And I'm very happy with that. And I'm looking forward to the next time that I will smoke weed, because I know it's not going to be abuse. I know the next time that I smoke weed, it's going to be the once in the blue moon type shit, and I've fixed my relationship with weed. And that's very, very possible as well. Like if you're abhängig, what's the fucking English word? If you are dependent on a substance, there is a reality where you can, in the future, enjoy the substance without being dependent on it. And a lot of people think that once dependent, you're fucked. From then on, it's either abstinence or you're fucked. And it's not like that. Okay. But to get to that point where you can go back to like enjoying the substance once in a blue moon, yeah, that is a lot of mental work, and that's not for everybody. So we got no more weed. We're working out like a fucking champion, and approaches. These are habits. I'm habitually not smoking now. I'm habitually working out. Like it's a day in, day out thing for me. It's like an exception that you will not find me in the gym. It's an exception that you will find me with a joint in my mouth. It is an exception that you will find me not having approached a girl, at least one or two girls on any given day. So these things are with me. It's my identity. It's who I am being all day now, which is fucking amazing. The next things is my diet, because I still eat a lot of trash, but not anymore, and uploading content. And well, there you go. There's a camera in my face. So that's it. So that's the news for me. That's the life update. I hope you liked it. The next video is gonna be regular old shit. Enjoy the channel, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you later. And as a final side note, I also wanted to say that a couple of days ago I was recording, and I was recording a reel on the camera, and I felt, and this is one more thing about weed, I felt how I cannot, like, there is a force that is trying to sidetrack me from staying right on the camera, like staying stable and steady and look at the camera. And the thing is, up until now, when I was doing a CTA too, which is like a very, it's like a very important moment. So up until now, when I was looking at the lens, it was more so this the only way that I can stay steady is if I'm angry at the lens. So anger has been a big theme in my life, and it's something that I'm working on with daily meditations, and we'll get into that as well in future episodes. But yeah, what I realized was that I can let go of it, and I can try to be present with the lens without being angry. And this has been a challenge for me, and this is something that I am working on, and I see an avenue at, like I see a possibility where I can look at the lens and not have to be angry, but yet still be present and steady right here. So these are all my thoughts. I hope you enjoyed all this. Well, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. This is the life update, and from now on, my guy, there's gonna be a lot of videos, probably daily videos. Here's what you're expecting. Number one, you're gonna be expecting infield breakdowns, because I wear my glasses, my Ray-Ban Metas. I'll film my sexy ass talking to bitches, and then I will come here and I'll break down the footage, and I'll explain what happened and what I did and what you should do and why I did it, blah, 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 what the girl was thinking, how I got her to think something out, like all that shit. I'm going to be breaking down. I will do daily vlogs, kind of like my process, my day, and taking you through my, like, whatever's happening. And the third thing I want to do is just rants like that. Just like one to one, mono on mono. which is what the puff game was supposed to be all about. If you haven't seen The Gentleman, Guy Ritchie movie, I highly recommend you stop what you're doing, and after subscribing to this channel, you turn off everything else and watch that movie like right now. Cool, so thanks for coming. I'll see you later. Peace.